Have you ever felt a silence so loud it physically hurts? That's what the house felt like the night I found my wife's diary. It was a small, leather-bound book, the kind you'd buy at a tourist shop. It tucked away in the back of her closet, hidden behind a stack of shoeboxes. Her scent jasmine and something sharp, like ambition, still clung to the pages. My hands were shaking as I read the first entry, dated 6 months prior. The words weren't just words. They were a screenplay of betrayal, a detailed, almost gleeful account of her and Mark, her colleague from the city. Every single lie was laid bare. Every lunch at that little Italian place on Rush Street, every late-night call she claimed was a client in a different time zone. Every stolen weekend she swore was a conference in Miami. It was all there, written in her elegant, looping script. The worst part wasn't the act itself. It was the way she described it, the thrill, the sense of superiority, the casual cruelty in her tone as she wrote about me, the boring, predictable husband waiting at home. The diary entry from last Tuesday described their meeting at the Drake Hotel, the city lights of Chicago sprawling beneath them like a carpet of fallen stars. She wrote about the way he looked at her, the way he made her feel alive. She wrote things I never knew she was capable of thinking, let alone doing. I closed the book, the leather cool against my now numb fingers. The silence in our perfectly curated Lincoln Park brownstone was deafening. And in that silence, a cold, clear thought formed in my mind, sharp as a shard of glass. She had built her new world on the ruins of mine. Now, I would burn hers to the ground. If you genuinely enjoy our stories, please subscribe to the channel. Tell us where you're from, what time it is right now. It's always fascinating to know how far our story flows. The next morning, I was a ghost in my own home. I made coffee, the familiar aroma filling the kitchen we'd designed together, and watched her get ready for work. Jessica was a whirlwind of practiced elegance, a little too much perfume, a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. "Big day today, honey," she said, adjusting the collar of my shirt with a proprietary air that now felt like a mockery. "Wish me luck." I just nodded, the words from her diary screaming in my head. The humiliation was a physical weight, pressing down on my chest, making it hard to breathe. I looked at her, and for the first time, I didn't see my wife. I saw a stranger, an actress, playing a part she had long grown tired of. Her strange behavior over the past few months, which I'd once dismissed as work stress, now clicked into place like a key in a lock. The hushed phone calls she'd take in the other room, ending them abruptly if I walked in. The sudden need for girls' weekends that left her exhausted and distant, the way she'd angle her phone away from me, her fingers flying across the screen. It was all so obvious now, a trail of breadcrumbs leading to a truth I was too blind, or perhaps too trusting to see. The betrayal wasn't just in her actions. It was in every smile, every touch, every "I love you" that had been a lie. As the days turned into weeks, she grew colder, more manipulative. It was as if, now that she had her secret life, she no longer needed to pretend with me. Any question I asked, no matter how innocent, was met with a sigh, an eye roll, or a condescending, "Are you seriously questioning me right now?" She weaponized my concern, painting me as controlling and insecure. It was a masterclass in gaslighting. The villains of my story, Jessica and Mark, felt untouchable. I'd see pictures of them on social media from work events, standing a little too close, sharing a private joke that was clearly just for them. They were hiding in plain sight, and the sheer audacity of it was breathtaking. One night, my self-control snapped. I followed them. I parked my car across from a dimly lit bar in the West Loop, the rain blurring my windshield into a watercolor of neon lights. I watched them through the window, saw him lean in and whisper something in her ear, saw her laugh, a genuine, unrestrained laugh I hadn't heard directed at me in years. That's when I broke. The carefully constructed dam inside me shattered, and I sat there in the dark, the steering wheel digging into my forehead, and just wept. It was a raw, guttural grief for the man I was, for the life I thought I had, for the future that had been stolen from me. But grief is a furnace. It burns away the weakness and forges something harder, something colder in its place. My tears dried, and what was left was a steely, unbending resolve. The sadness was gone, replaced by a quiet, focused rage. The next day I made a call. I hired a private investigator, a grizzled ex-cop named Miller who'd seen it all and was unshocked by any of it. My mission was simple: gather irrefutable proof. I started documenting everything. I took high-resolution photos of the most damning diary pages. I had Miller legally obtain phone records, credit card statements, and hotel receipts. He got security footage from the hotel lobbies and parking garages, clear as day. While Miller was my field operative, I was building my legal fortress. I met with the best divorce attorney in Chicago, a woman named Sharon, who was known for her ruthless efficiency and her take-no-prisoners approach in the courtroom. We set the traps, both legal and social, with painstaking detail. I opened a new bank account, and following Sharon's advice, quietly began moving my own assets, protecting what was mine before the storm hit. The final piece of the puzzle was the public fallout. I contacted a reporter I knew from a college internship, a guy who lived for juicy scandals among the city's elite. I gave him the tip of a lifetime, with one condition: he had to wait for my signal. The stage for my revenge was set for Jessica's company's annual charity gala held at the prestigious Art Institute of Chicago. It was the biggest night of her professional year, the one she planned for months. She was on stage, accepting an award for excellence in marketing, looking radiant under the spotlights. Mark was in the front row, beaming like a proud mentor and lover, which, of course, he was. The room was filled with the who's who of Chicago's business world. As she finished her acceptance speech, thanking her wonderfully supportive husband at home, the large screens behind her, which were meant to display company logos, flickered. And then, there it was. A high-definition photo of her and Mark kissing passionately in the elevator of the Drake. Time-stamped from a conference weekend, then a text exchange, brutally explicit in its content, appeared on the screen. And for the grand finale, a photo of a page from her diary, her own elegant handwriting enlarged for all to see, describing her contempt for her clueless, boring husband. A collective gasp rippled through the ballroom, followed by a silence so complete you could hear a pin drop. I watched from the back of the room as her face drained of all color, her confident smile collapsing into a mask of pure horror. I saw the panic in Mark's eyes as he tried to shrink into his chair, his face ashen. Her carefully constructed world, her perfect image, her entire career, imploded in a matter of seconds, live and in front of everyone who mattered to her. She was ruined, utterly and completely. She was fired the next day, of course. The company couldn't distance themselves from her fast enough. Her friends, the ones she'd gossiped with about her thrilling affair, vanished. The calls went unanswered. The legal proceedings were just a formality. With the mountain of evidence I had, she had no leverage, no ground to stand on. She lost the house, her claim to any of our joint savings, and most importantly, her reputation. Ouch. She was a pariah. The last time I saw her, she was packing her few remaining belongings into a small U-Haul truck parked outside what used to be our home. She looked older, defeated. Her face was a mask of disbelief and raw hatred. She tried to say something to me as I stood on the porch watching. She opened her mouth to scream, to curse me, to plead, but no words came out. There was nothing left to say. The script was over. House is quiet again now, but it's a different kind of silence. It's not the loud, painful silence of betrayal. It's just empty, peaceful. Sometimes late at night I walk through the rooms we once shared, rooms that are now just boxes and echoes, and I feel nothing at all. The love, the hate, the rage, it's all gone, burned away in the fire of my revenge. All that's left is the cold, quiet peace of a war that is finally, irrevocably over. I sold the house and left Chicago without looking back, leaving behind the ghosts of a life that was never really mine to begin with.